the lev is the Hebrew word for the heart. And we focus so much on the lev because it has so many responsibilities. In many respects, this is you, this is your inner person. And what the lev does from the Hebrew wisdom culture's perspective is it has all these different connection points and different responsibilities with the relationship it forms with each connection point. So it connects to God, primarily, number one. Then it connects with wisdom, its own thoughts, and how much it knows, and then it connects to Scripture, God's written word, the actual model that we're to carry out and walk out. But then it has its own responsibilities, which is to govern both the body and the spirit. And the lev is going to have different types and different levels of relationship with each of these connection points: God, wisdom, Scripture, body, spirit. And it's going to pursue each with different levels of passion or neglect. And so every human ends up in that sense being like a recipe. We're going to have different weighted passions and different ratios for different aspects of these, points of connection for life. And the thing that complicates things is that in addition to this, the lev has its own desires and its own will also. So it can neglect all these things when it chooses to pursue its own desires. The Hebrew word for that is ta'ava. And the idea is that where the heart goes, so does the entire person. It steers everything about us towards whatever it is wanting and what it is pursuing. And that's why we focus so heavily on the development of the lev, because this institutes policies and it administers change within a person. And so the lev, it's great when things are operating wonderfully, but it's also our biggest vulnerability because the lev likes to lie. It will do and say anything to get what it wants. And because of this, it's notoriously unreliable. If one of its duties conflicts with its desires, well, it abandons the duties and it chooses and chases the desires. So the heart knows how to lie to itself. It knows how to blind itself. It knows how to disguise its motives. As it says in the Bible, it is deceitful above all things, yet it's the one that makes the decisions. And when the heart is locked on to what it wants, nothing can dissuade it. And this becomes a big problem when the lev overlooks and minimizes danger, which is what was happening in this proverb. And this is why intelligent people can still make terrible decisions, is that their heart will override their own reason. And this is why wisdom is a developed trait, not an intellectual talent. A person has to develop loves that are higher than its own wants, and the heart has to become very good at telling its own self no, because an unrestrained heart, just like an unrestrained spirit or an unrestrained body, is never going to take you to a good place. So when we look at this proverb, we see two different examples of how a lev can fail. And the first example is probably coming from a good place, that this is someone who genuinely wants to help. And having a good heart and being kind and generous is normally a good thing, except when it overlooks danger. And so it's very possible to fail and still have good intentions and a golden heart. And that's naivete's first form, is a lack of wisdom that comes from overtrust. And a well-meaning victim is still a victim, and a kind and generous fool is still a fool. Naivete's second form is self-deception, and that's what we see in the second half of the proverb. Is this is lying to oneself about reality, because it breaks the heart and curtails the passion if he was just honest about the actual moral character of this strange woman. And so a deceived fool is a deceived fool, more so when he's the one telling the lie. And these are both examples of desire in the lev overriding good judgment. And when desire triumphs over wisdom, that's failure, and that happens with an unprepared heart, where they have more desire than they have wisdom, and that is why we work on this. And the Proverbs rely very heavily on archetypes. They give us examples of good and bad types of people. And the main reason it does this is so that we can use it to evaluate ourselves, so that we can identify our own weaknesses and begin work on our character refinement. But the Proverbs are also, because of this form, they're an excellent diagnostic tool of others in the patterns of life. So when we begin to see these data points light up of a person's character, good or bad, we get a better evaluation of what we can expect for them. And so in that sense, people can be like a traffic light. It can be green, yellow, or red. There's certain things that if you see, it's like, yes, go forward. If you see certain things, you go, no, stop. But most of the time there's going to be yellow, and that means you have to carefully evaluate. And the Proverbs let us know the levels of caution that we need to exercise in our relationship. So this example was of a young foolish man falling for the wrong type of woman. But we see it work the other way too. That naive women fall for the wrong kind of man, and there's something crazy about people, that we find risk exhilarating and fun, and so we're willing to take chances on people that we know are bad for us. And certain people, they enjoy the thrill and the rush of the chaos and the fun of it. Other times people, think that they can rescue the person, but most of the time it just ends up crashing. And the heart will tell itself so many things until it lands on the excuse that sticks that will override good common sense. And so usually the Lev will tell itself that they have a particular type of chemistry, or maybe they will have a specific type of person that they just have a weakness for. But this is lack of wisdom. And when you see the Lev making up these excuses, this is the heart doing what it does best, being deceitful. And most people are really not all that complicated. The overriding hidden desire that most of us are going to have is going to center around either material goods or lust. And it's going to show itself as folly in how we handle money and relationships. So where most people will fail at is at money or relationships. Where most people are going to lack wisdom, money and relationships. Where the heart runs free and lacks control, money, relationships. Where the person's going to have the hardest time saying no to themselves, money and relationships. So do we see the pattern? It all starts in the heart. And before the heart can master anything else, it has to master itself. And that's going to chiefly involve its own unhealthy desires. And this is why we read the Mishle, because they help us identify our areas of weakness so that we can focus on improving them. And we have a heart problem. It loves the wrong things and it lies to us. So that's why it has to be replaced and it has to be reorganized with different priorities. And that's what we do when we read the Mishle, is step by step, proverb by proverb, we learn exactly how to do this.